the Norwegian oil fund has an investment in POSCO. It is over 1 billion kroner, or was at the end of 2013. And in addition to that equity stake, the fund also has a fixed income bond holding in POSCO that's worth around 264 million kroner. So the immediate issue is that Norwegian money, that your money, is promoting human rights abuses in India. So in May 2013, NBIM issued a press release saying that, quote, as the bank is a minority shareholder in POSCO, the OECD guidelines for multilateral enterprises do not apply to the bank. And a few months later, in September 2013, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs wrote a letter to the OECD also saying that the guidelines do not apply to it, to minority shareholders, and asking for a clarification whether the guidelines apply to sovereign wealth funds like ours. But in June this year, the Norwegian government officially withdrew its request for these clarifications. But in reading that letter to the OECD that it sent in withdrawing those clarifications, I think it raises questions about the extent to which the government will actually encourage NBIM and other investors to implement the OECD guidelines. So whilst the letter says that the government is strongly committed to the OECD guidelines, it also stresses the fact that these guidelines are recommendations and not legally enforceable. And of course, the massive problem with the guidelines is that they are voluntary. They're not binding on companies. Virtually all investments these days are minority shareholdings. In fact, all of the NBIM's investments are, by law, minority shareholdings. So if the OECD guidelines don't apply to minority shareholdings, they basically don't apply to investors. So clearly it would drive a coach and horses through the current system of international business responsibility to change those guidelines. But the other thing is that the Norwegian activity in the OECD over the last year, I think, has distracted attention away from the real need, which is to strengthen the ability of states to ensure that their companies promote human rights, environmental rights, labor rights in their overseas operations. So what this report is calling on the government and the NBIM to do is to support an independent investigation into the human rights allegations against POSCO. The Norwegian government should not be endorsing crap companies by investing in them. I wonder whether there was a chance that the Norwegian government could actually set the world alight by announcing that finally it believes that it and other rich nations do in fact have a responsibility to ensure that the companies and the financial investors in their jurisdiction should be required to promote global rights.